Ooby-doo, it's everyone's famous, fabulous, and favorite boomer. And today we're going to be looking at the Canon D5 Mark II with the Tokina SD 24-70 f2.8 IF FX, a spherical. Wait, hold on a second. The Canon D5 Mark II is a full frame DSLR from, like, I don't know, 2008 or something, and it's a beast. And the Tokina, this is doesn't have VR in it, all right? So this thing, they have a VR version, and it's even bigger. And this is hefty, and it's like carrying 2 bricks around with you. Yeah, you get some really great shots and everything, but you got to keep in mind that it's heavy. And I'm not trying to discourage you from acquiring and using these devices, but you got to keep that in mind. I use this with the lens shade on it, believe it or not. Oh, there we go. Put this on. Okay. So I went to the Hawthorne Car Show for 2025, and this is a follow-up with this camera. I went to another car show and used a Canon 24-70, and it was an L lens. And they're both sunny days. I was using both at f11. I was using ISO 400. So we should see the picture quality should be almost identical. But we're going to look at that in the, so see, it says Mark II there. Mark II. Oh, it's just a big, it weighs a ton. I have a big heavy strap so I don't get decapitated from it. And even though it's, this is 2025, and say it's like, I don't know, 15, 16, 17 years old, it's really a nice camera. It takes excellent pictures, has a really nice dynamic range, more so than their consumer or prosumer models. This lens, this is the lens you want to get. You don't want to get the Canon 24-70 f2.8 L lens because it's soft wide open. This thing is much sharper. And it's tons cheaper too. It's $100 cheaper. All right, Tokina, who ever heard of Tokina? They were like a second string lens company, but their stuff was good. You know, especially if you could get it cheap. F2.8, right? You get a 24-70 f2.8, you want to be using an f2.8. They say these rave things about the Canon, right? And all the reviews and everything. Well, I had 2 samples, right? And they're both soft wide open. F3.5, they got as good as this thing at f2.8, at f4, and of course this one at f4 and everything else, they were near perfect, right? So, but at f2.8, well, you know, get this one instead. I've used Tokina stuff before. I found it to be reliable, well built, excellent optics. There's always more bang for your buck, without a doubt. So I say go for the Tokina. And I could talk about it endlessly here, but let's look at some photos and then I'll talk about it endlessly there. The purpose of this video is twofold. One is for gearheads who like to look at cars and stuff. And I like to look at cars, especially old cars that have been around for a long time. And the second purpose is to check out the camera gear. You know, how does this lens and body combination work? And we're talking about the Canon full frame D5 Mark II and the Tokina 24-70 f2.8 FX, which means full frame. And it works really good. It's cheaper than the Canon 24-70 f2.8 L lens, and it's just as good. And in some aspects, it's better. It's better wide open at 70 millimeters in f2.8, without a doubt. It does have some corner distortion. If you're looking at extreme corners, you'll see some, shall we say, pincushion distortion. But centrally, nope, nothing. It's great. It's a great lens. You know, save yourself $200. You could buy another lens or another body or something with it. Of course, if you buy a Canon 24 to 70, the L lens, then you get bragging rights. So I got there early as the cars were rolling in, and I tried to take pictures of cars from different angles, because if you go to a car show and they're all parked next to each other, it's hard to get, the true outlines or shape or design elements of a car. So yeah, I did some of that, shooting down the line, some details, uh, you know, fronts, backs, like that. But at this particular show, I wanted to do, get a different perspective on the cars. So I take 3 or 4 pictures in a row. Then you can see a car like stop motion going around a corner or something. But it's not a video, which is something in and of and different to itself. And there's a lot of nice cars there. There's a lot of people who have hobbies with cars. Yeah, I have 2 cars. One's a Corolla and one's a Yaris. And they're working cars. I don't go to work anymore, but they work for me. If I want to go to the park or the supermarket, the cars take me there. I try and keep them in running condition so they don't break down, but I don't cherry them out. When they get old and rusty, then it's time to toss them. But these people, this is their other car. They take it out, they go to these shows, they do the circuit, which is great because I like to see them. I really like to see these cars, especially the old ones that I grew up with. I'm a boomer, so I was a kid. That was back in the 60s, so you're talking 40, 60 years ago or something. And look, here's a parade of vets. That's why I was trying to capture this. The cars were coming in, they were going around a turn, they were in a line, they were waiting, but it looks like something was happening. And then, they had some officials directing traffic, and you could get a different perspective on a car when it's cruising down a road than when it's parked in a line of other cars, without a doubt. And at this place, it had some sort of retro industrial look to it, but just a block away, it was all residential, and they had the trains there, the train tracks there, but not one train went by. I don't know if the trains are in use. I was there for a couple hours in the morning, as opposed to Waldwick, where they had a functioning train station, and the trains ran like every 15 minutes a train went by. So, there's different neighborhoods, different effects. They had a whole bunch of foreign cars there, but they're all classics. Look at that. Oh, wow. Yeah, so there you see different cars. They come by. You see them from different angles. Here's this tiny little thing. What was that? I forget what it was. But, I saw some different cars I'd never seen. And then all of a sudden you see them at some shows, and people change hands. They have a car for a number of years. They get tired of it, and maybe they sell it and get something different. And some people just hold on to these cars forever. It's their baby or whatever. Yeah, so right by the train tracks, they had this industrial area, and then the main street was off on one end where they had some stores. I like this picture because it's like these cars going around a turn. It's different. You're seeing cars from a different perspective. You're seeing from this side than that side, from an oblique angle to an acute angle. That's what it's like. So now you can get a real feel of what a car is all about, and how does this design elements affect its appearance. I mean, this guy, I've seen him in different shows. Like a woman, sometimes you can see a woman, she looks gorgeous just from this one angle, and other times else she's just a woman. And it's the same thing with cars. Some cars look almost from any angle, they look great, and other cars, they only have one specific angle where they look cool and everything. And then, seeing a car back up is different than seeing it pull forward. That's the best time to get there, is when they're rolling in. Of course, yeah, I had to leave my house at 7 o'clock, get there at 8, and man, it was hot already. The shade was mighty scarce, so I couldn't hang out that long. 10:30, 11 o'clock, that's it. Nothing past that for me. Now, they do have some car shows later in the year, like the end of September and even October. And then sometimes you got to wear a jacket when you get there. and then as the sun comes up, then you can take your jacket off. It's not too bad. So you see there's a lot of cars there, a lot of different cars. You know, it's like these two-tone jobs, and you just see them. And of course, I would run across the street and get a different angle, and there's a traffic jam at a certain time when people are pulling in all at once, and it was just cool. I really liked it. It was a sunny day, man. Put the top down. It's a sunny day. You know, I like to get these scenes where, you know, the cars make their own composition. They frame the picture. Yeah, there's that long shot down the whole parking lot was filled with cars. You know, they would pull in and they would rumble, and you could smell the exhaust of that old leaded fuel. I did take some videos with the point and shoot, but they're going to be on their own separate video. Here's this store. They had a Van Gogh mural. So I stood there and I took a couple pictures as cars went by. And some people, they get rust buckets, but then they stabilize it. So this way it doesn't get any worse, but that's part of the mystique of that car, that it's a rust bucket. I had plenty of rust buckets, that's for sure. The Canon D5 Mark II full frame 20 megapixel and the Tokina 24-70 f2.8 FX. Great combo. Great combo. Of course, we were talking about f11 on a sunny day using fast shutter speed. Everything should come out great, right? And oh, the deep mirror finish. Everything's reflecting and refracting off these cars. There's a farmer's market there, but it's too expensive for me. Still, it was great. I recommend going and checking it out next year. Hawthorne annual car show.